What motivated you to get involved in the Tron series? What was attracted to you?
Oh gosh, I feel like I've been repeating myself all day. But my husband is a huge Tron fan, so I wanted to initially audition so I could sort of impress him. Earn some cachet on the home front, and it did. He was very excited. But I, to be quite honest, didn't know too much about the whole Tron universe, as it were. But I've learned bits and bobs as I've gone along with the series.
It'd be hard not to, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, although the work that you do on an episodic series like this, it's so sort of disjointed and stilted, and you're doing the majority of the work by yourself. So poor Charlie, our director, sort of, I think, had to start from square one every time we worked together. I'm like, so a program. We need to start from the very beginning. Just to, yeah, I think I was a bit of a challenge for them.
Well, it seems like there's 3 or 4 of you in the mechanic shop. How hard was it to create that sense of banter and camaraderie when you're doing it by yourself?
I did have the advantage actually of working with Elijah and Nate a few times, so I think once we sort of established our rapport, it was easier to sort of draw on that when I was back by myself, working solo in the vocal booth. But I don't know. I mean, I've worked on various other animated projects before, so I didn't find it like too terribly difficult to, I don't know, fake it, I guess. In a way, you kind of have to.
Now that you've had the world of Tron explained to you, are you fascinated by where technology seems to be going and this idea that it could be people living inside our computers and devices?
That makes my head hurt a little bit, to be honest. I would like a light cycle, though. If there was any way to sort of advance enough so we could all sort of scoot around on light cycles, I'd be down for that.
Paul Rubens is working on getting you one from Disney.
He is? Yeah. I've heard that, actually, from several sources, so I'm going to make him make good on that.
Did being a singer help you prepare for just using your voice as an actor, like, and not focusing on physicality? Was that already sort of like putting emotion into?
I guess maybe that's where why it feels so comfortable, but I kind of immediately took to doing voice work. Just immediately, it felt there was like a sense of like second naturedness to it, but also I just really enjoy the challenge of not having a point of reference about the work. It's not as if there's a monitor and you're watching sort of the already animated sequences and you're doing your performance to that. I like that through direction and explanation, and as well as employing your own imagination, you sort of have to come up with this universe and who these people are and what they're doing and imagining, and now you're sort of in the fight of your life and you're trying to escape, somebody who's after you and wants to kill you and or whatever the craziness may be. I love that you sort of have to look within yourself and put yourself or put the character in that situation, and it is a little physically and emotionally more exhausting than I thought, because I'm quite an animated person anyway when I speak, and I think I tend to gesture all the more when I'm in the vocal booth, and especially with like the effort sounds. And now you're running, or whatever it may be. So those are the times when I'm glad that I'm solo and I don't have to look around and be embarrassed that Elijah's watching. You know what I mean? Like nobody else is in there. So.
Before this project came along, did your husband sit you down and say like, honey, this is the best movie series, you're gonna love it?
He's a big fan. He's a fan of the original movie, and he's a fan of. We have the video game at home, so I had played the video game before, so that should earn me some. But yes, he was very excited. It means a lot to him, and so because of his reaction to it, I definitely approached the project with a certain amount of respect, because I know that the story and this whole world means a great deal to a lot of people, so I don't take that responsibility lightly.
What does he need to do to score points with you?
He already does. He does, just being himself.
Is Mara a lot calmer of a character than, say, Rapunzel was?
I think there's some similarity there. I think they're both spunky, spirited women who are independent, who aren't waiting to be rescued. I think Mara is sort of one of the guys, and she's also kind of the voice of reason. She's really good at what she does, so it's not like she's not dragging the team down by any means. And I think as the series sort of progresses too, she sort of comes into her own all the more and really starts to assume this leadership role, and this quality that I don't think she even was aware that sort of existed within her.
Is Mara gonna have a sort of like a love interest going on in this series?
There's this unrequited crush from Zed's point of view. He loves Mara. She's oblivious to that because all of her love is focused on the renegade. So there's no real love interest for her, because obviously she doesn't realize the renegade is back. It's her own best friend. So there's that lovely twist in there. But she's obsessed with his philosophy and his moral compass and this sort of fight for the right thing that he's sort of on that track, and she's right there with him.
After you did Tangled, did you have little kids who didn't know who Mandy Moore was recognize you from your voice?
I haven't encountered that so much because there's a real disconnect between me and a character with 30 feet of blonde hair. So I really have no cachet with any kids. I was excited about that initially, that I could just walk up to a kid and be like, hi, and think that they would know who I was, but that hasn't happened yet, so I'm still holding out hope that one day, but it doesn't really translate. I know. I just have to dye my hair, wear like a really long wig. Yeah. I like to walk around Disneyland like I'm a big man on the campus, but it doesn't mean anything to anyone.
Are you gonna get to do a Tangled too?
They haven't said anything to me, but I did hear whispers oddly about that, but I would love to. I had the best time making that film, so I would totally be down for the sequel.
What are the perks of working with Disney in particular when it comes to like a Tangled and a project like this?
I think it's really efficient and organized, all of the work that we do. I definitely appreciate that aspect of it. Being a Disney fan growing up, it's super cool to be a part of the family. And when I was working on this, I'd say like halfway through working on the series, they gave us a bunch of toys and action figures, and I was able to bring those home for my husband. He was very excited about that. So he gets some of the perks as well, not just me.
And do you find that when you're getting into that character with just your voice, there's something particular that switches on? It's like, okay, I know now I'm this new person, this character, as opposed to when you're acting in front of a camera where you can do all the mannerisms and the movements, gestures.
Sure. I mean, I think you can still incorporate some of that stuff. You have to. It would be a little stilted, I think, if you're just sort of standing in front of the microphone, like with your arms glued to your side. But I think it's just about, taking a minute when you start working to take a deep breath and close your eyes and sort of try and put yourself in that world. And I think with the page in front of you, just as if you were doing a read through of a script for something that was live action, you still put yourself in that frame of mind, and it's not difficult to allow yourself to sort of go there. It's just, in this particular case, there doesn't happen to be a camera capturing it, so you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. You can just sort of fully engross yourself in the page, and you don't have to have things memorized, and it's nice to have that as, kind of a crutch.
Is Mara going to get involved in the revolution?
She does in her own way, absolutely. She does in her own way.
Time for one more question. Were you surprised coming into this that the series was this serious for something animated compared to a lot of the other Disney stuff like Tangle and everything else?
Sure. I think that's what I really liked about it. It was very sophisticated. It was very much more mature, adult, grown up. It just in the sophisticated level of the animation and the stories, and there was a real intensity and drama and action and sort of a thrilling element that at least I wasn't aware of that really exists on the channel right now. So I know it's something new for them, and I think it'll be new for a lot of viewers as well. But I liked that. I was just completely struck by the animation. To me, it was something I was like, wow, I've never seen anything quite like this before. I thought it was beautiful.